welcome to Quarter to Success. So today we're basically going to do a recap of last week and what happened in the market. So basically, when I look at the calendar, we're going to start off on the 21st, closing it on the 25th. Okay, so let me just delete everything and let's get into it. So the 21st starts here. As you guys know, I trade in the morning at 9, and so basically I trade two sessions, the London session and the New York session. These sessions might differ from time to time depending on which country you are in, but if you're in New York, then New York session will begin at 9 in the morning for you, and then if you are in any other country, it might start in the afternoon. New York session might start in the afternoon. So let's just get into it and let's see. So first things first, what I would spot is the last week's close. So basically I would call this area our low for the week, or our low for the day. And then when I get into it, I'll start looking for certain places like this. So this is our low of the day. This is our high of the day. So it means that at some point we might reach that area. So now let's just say that I'm waiting for 9 o'clock to open. I'm waiting for the London session to begin at 9 o'clock. So what now I'm looking for is that the market moved up, left such a big wick, and then it's starting to move down, creating lower lows, lower highs. So then at 9 o'clock, which is right about here at this point, I then start to jot down, okay, this is our low, this is our high yet again, but this is where we are going. So we've basically broken out of this trend because we touched numerously on this trend line. We broke out of it, came back in. If you want to square up on what's happening within this London session, then so basically this is on the 15-minute chart. So then we have our high of the London session, we have our low of the London session morning. When you take your trend line and you draw it, you would find that the market broke out, you have a retest, and it's proceeding to move down. So we enter a trade at exactly 9 o'clock. We aim for 60 pips, and quite typically 60 pips will be at the first low of the day, which we've perfectly succeeded in doing. So this is a beautiful 60 pips. The market went down, it came back up to collect some liquidity as well, as you can see here, because it spiked up, it came back down, and then we banked a good 60 pips here. We closed for the London session, and we'll come back again for the afternoon session, which will be the New York session. So for the New York session, I trade at exactly 4:30 because of the time zone and the times that have changed. So in this case, what I would do is that I've already marked out areas of interest. So we have our low of the day, low of the morning, low of the high of the morning, and then our high of the day. So the market has to reach one of these areas, whether it's the high of the day, high of the week, or the low of the week, high of the week, low of the day. It has to reach one of these areas, and if it is going in one direction, then it means that we must proceed in that direction. So what I noticed here is that when you take a trend line yet again, you would see the same thing. So the market broke out on a bigger structure, it moved up, leaving multiple wick rejections at the London morning high, and then you see it proceeding to come down at 3:30, at 4:30, and then second candlestick dropped a wick, and that was my entry at that high. I moved my stop loss just about a pick up high, and then I initially aimed for 1:6, which was basically this area here where the market kept rejecting. So the London session of the next day, on the 22nd, I did not take any trades because I proceeded not to. So basically I didn't take any trades later on this day. So let's see. So this is the 22nd. 9 o'clock was just about here. Yes, I did not take the morning trade because I was still holding the trade from the previous session, which was the New York session, and I was waiting for the market to reach this area. Once it had reached that area, I then looked forward to seeing some sort of rejection, okay, which this candlestick at 10:30 showed beautifully well, because it touched that area, hitting our take profit. Then it decided that, okay, well, this is an area of liquidity, so once this area has been filled to proclaim what had previously happened, then for sure the market is going to move up to touch up those highs. So then I just marked my areas that this is the high of the day, and then this is our low, of course. If you take your trend line and you draw, you would see that we have a market that's moving down, creating lower lows, lower highs, and it had broken out of that area, out of the downtrend, breakout, retest. That's why we have such a sharp turn in. So I call this the V pattern. When the market moves out of the trend line, retests that area, and it keeps moving further down, and it comes to an area of support, then that's where you start buying. You don't start buying at a much higher level, at a peak high. No. You start buying at support because you can see it. When you draw your trend line, it cuts through perfectly. You have a breakout retest, just as you see here. And then I'd set my buy orders there, reaching for our first high here at about 100 pips. That's our high of the day. And then at 4:30, I had opened about 4 positions on this trade, closing 2 at that point, and then the remaining 2 was still active. So when 4:30 came, I just ended up adding more positions at this point, because it was on a higher spectrum. You would have this area here, as our high. This is our high of the day, our high of the London session, our low, and a low of the London session as well. And if you can see it on a higher time frame, if you move on to the 30-minute time frame, or if you check it on the 15 or the hourly, you would see that this is a continuous breakout retest. And of course, I just knew that this is not a good retest. If the market is going to push up high, continuing the turn of events at this support level, then surely the market needs to come back down to this area, creating a double bottom, collecting more liquidity, thinking some sellers would see this as an opportunity to sell. But this was actually collecting liquidity. It was just trapping a few traders. And for us who are sometimes patient, we'll be rewarded. So I closed one position when I got to about 160 pips, and then I just kept my stop loss in check. That's all that I did basically for this trade. So this trade in total amounted to about 400 pips. Yeah, it got to about roughly 380 pips, and that's where I closed, because I was holding this trade for since the 22nd. So I ended up closing this trade on the 24th, but I'm just going to do an analysis of how you could have taken a trade on the 23rd if you had missed that big move. So on the 23rd, we come here and we say, okay, well, look, this is what happened. We already have a market that's moving up. Okay, we have our major area of resistance where the market is trying to surpass that area. So the market then came down, collecting some strength and momentum, and then now we come in, we say this is our low, this is our high, where is the market going? So I notified people that I was trading with that, hey guys, this is the setup basically. So we have a nice trend line again, yet again, cuts through. We have a breakout retest, okay, waiting for 9 o'clock to open. If it happens that 9 o'clock opens and it hasn't reached this area, make sure that you enter, but your stop loss has to be about 20 pips than the tight stop loss that we normally have. And we are reaching for the sky now, guys. So hold this trade throughout the New York session, and we'll see, because we aiming for, 100 pips or 200 pips, so that if you missed out on the previous trade, you can earn more on this one. And with good faith, good spirits, good analysis, the market did exactly what we thought it would do, and it moved up. So the New York session, I was kind of pleased that it worked out perfectly, because we have our low, and then we also have, why am I opening this? What's going on? We have our high. If you check here, you would see that we have a breakout retest. So surely at 4:30, what's going to happen? New York open, we're going to move up. And then once we had moved up, some people closed at 148 pips, 150, and I mean, that's good enough. You can call that a day. Or if you're well patient enough and you are brave enough to hold through this like I am, then surely you can wade through all of this. So then the next session began, the 24th. So on the 24th, I just realized that, okay, this is our low. Okay, yeah, this is our low. Initially, this is it. So if you're going to trade now on the 24th, we have our high, we have our low. So what can we do? What should we do? 9:30, 9 a.m. came, and we realized that the market broke out of this area, but there was no retest. There was an area that was quite lacking, if you would see. So it's like an open space. So we call this area our area of liquidity. It's support, but there's some liquidity because there's just a gap. And when you look at what happened prior to this event, you would find that there is multiple wick rejections. So this area needs to be filled. These wicks genuinely just need to be filled. So I noticed that the momentum wasn't as strong as it was 2 or 3 days ago. So we were basically scalping and putting in more entries so that we can earn more profits. So when the market came, when the New York session, when the London session began, I then started to look for a retest. Upon that retest, I made sure that I'd entered at that low. Okay, so where this area was, I made sure that that's where I entered. So I set a buy for 60 pips. Unfortunately, the market did not close at 60 pips. The market did not turn at the market didn't reach our take profit, so we ended up closing at about 50 pips, 40 pips, some 30 pips, and then I started looking for selling opportunities. So Thanksgiving came and there was hardly any movement in the market. So as you can see, this is our high for the day. Okay, and this is where we ended up now. So now I'm just thinking to myself, okay, so what's happening in the market? Is there a shift? What's going on? Because it looks like there is a shift, because we are basically in a range now, but this range is pushing more towards the bottom than it is pushing up. Because if it was pushing up, you would see some momentum of it moving up, so you'd see some breakout retests, and a continuation. But I could see that here we're about to start falling dramatically. So I notified a few traders once I noticed that, okay, well, this is now starting to look like a break and retest to the downside, and the wedge also gives us an indication that the market is failing to continue its move further up. So we started selling. Yes, I know. Well, initially we started selling during the Thanksgiving session because the market was open, even though it was slow, but it was active. So we ended up setting our sell positions, our sell orders up there. And when the London session began the next day on the 25th, we then saw the market just taking its course, playing in perfectly. We waited yet again for 9 a.m. The market was pushing up at 9 a.m. simply because it had broken out, came back up for a retest, creating a double top. Well, actually at this point it was creating a triple top, 1, 2, 3. It rejected that area twice. It rejected that support, that resistance trend line twice, and it was pushing down. So our sell orders were activated, and we started putting in some manual entries once it had broken out of this resistance, which was support. And then our first aim was at about 80 pips, and then we are trailing the rest of the trade with a stop loss, aiming for 174 pips, which is about 1:11, 1:12. And yeah, that's basically it for today, guys. If you have any other questions, if you have any questions, please ask in the comments. If you would like to be in contact with me, I'll just write down in the comments, and then I'll make sure to reply. Please like and subscribe. This is for you guys. I want everyone to win, so enjoy.